Hello, my name is Blossoms and welcome to another Genshin Impact video. And today I'm showing off the brand new Xiangling build video for 2.0. We got some new artifact sets, some new weapons, and Xiangling can really take advantage of them, and I think she has a brand new best build, and the one I've got here today is actually really fun, and she can get her burst all of the time, and so I can't wait to show it off to you guys. Now, I am showing this one first. I do have another Beto build video coming up, but I did a poll on the channel and you guys voted to see Xiangling first, so we're having her up, but don't worry, that Beto build will be out relatively soon, and without further ado, let's show it off. Now, as for the actual build itself, you will note my talents here are 7, 7, and 9, so do keep that in mind, and yes, I do have her at C6, and she really does benefit from her constellations here, so C1, reducing pyro resistance, is probably one of the most valuable, but I would say her C4 is definitely the best, where your Pyro NATO gets that additional 40% duration. That is really strong. And then the C6 here, of course, giving you 15% pyro damage bonus during Pyro NATO is really good. Her C2 doesn't really matter that much, but yes, her constellations are very strong and are pretty important. But you don't necessarily need them to make her a very strong unit, so don't worry too much about that. Now, as for the artifact set we are using the brand new Emblem of Severed Fate. I do believe this is going to be her new best in slot, as the vast majority of Xiangling's damage, especially in a pyro build like this, is going to be from her elemental burst. So making sure that elemental burst is dealing as much damage as it can, as well as getting as much energy recharge as we can, is very important, because Pyro NATO is an 80 cost elemental burst. So you need to generate a ton of energy. Gyoba does help with that, and we have something else that's going to be helping with that. We'll get into that later though. But as for the main stats on the artifacts, I have attack percent, pyro damage bonus, and crit rate, slash crit damage. Those things are going to be very important. I did get really lucky on my feather and flower here, getting some decent crit rate and crit damage, as well as a little bit of energy recharge and a ton of elemental mastery. And elemental mastery is actually really strong on Xiangling, because Xiangling's Pyro NATO is often going to be the thing that is proccing the elemental reaction for the team, because of the way that it just goes around your character. It is often going to be the second element applied, and therefore her elemental mastery is going to be checked. Therefore, elemental mastery on her can be very important. Now, I did mention that my main stat here was attack percent. Now, there is nothing wrong with going like an energy recharge percent sans here, and some like attack percent substats. You really just need to hit the energy recharge threshold, and the most important value for your energy recharge is going to be hitting that 150 energy recharge range. Once you hit 150, you can worry about attack percent the most, but hitting that 150 is really important. And if you can just get a few energy recharge substats, especially with the Emblem of Severed Fate set, getting to this 150 is pretty easy, and therefore you can then go for the attack percent sans here. And as you can see, mine's not even that good. It has a little bit of ER, but that's about it. And that goes for a lot of this set. A lot of my stuff isn't even rounded out perfectly. My helmet here and my feather and flower are probably the best things, but the other two are really lacking. So this build still has plenty of room to grow and potential, and it's still very strong. Now, as for the weapon here, we're using the brand new Ketane Cross Spear, and it's at level 70, so do keep that in mind. But it does have an elemental mastery substat, and we went over why that's important on her. It also increases her elemental skill damage, and it has this beautiful trait that is the reason we're using it, is the fact that when your elemental skill hits an opponent, you lose 3 energy, but then you regenerate 3 energy every 2 seconds for the next 6 seconds. And a lot of people have been kind of dissing this feature, but it's really good. You only lose 3 energy, first of all. So no matter what, when Gyoba hits somebody and you lose that 3 energy, you are getting it back immediately from Gyoba's particle alone. But then not only that, you regenerate 3 energy for the next 6 seconds, which is really strong, and that only increases as you get more refinements here. So eventually it's just going to give her an absolutely ludicrous amount of energy, and it already gives her a ton of energy. We will be showing that off in just a second here, but yeah, this is a really good spear for Xiangling, and honestly I think this is probably one of the best 4 stars for her now. Of course, you can still use things like Dragon's Bane. I think Dragon's Bane here will still end up dealing more damage than something like the Ketane Cross Spear, but Dragon's Bane can only be used in a vaporized comp, and I think it's only better at higher refinement ranks. I think this has a much wider use case. It definitely has higher base attack, which is really nice, and then of course being able to regenerate energy for your character is very good, as well as give Gyoba a little boost is really solid. But Dragon's Bane isn't bad here, neither is things like Deathmatch or Blackcliff Pole. You could even use Favonius Lance, but I think this is going to be the best Pyro DPS weapon for Xiangling, whether you're using it as our main Pyro DPS or a sub Pyro DPS. I think this is really strong just for that energy gain alone. As for the attributes of my Xiangling, you will see that we are sitting here at the 1300 attack threshold. We have 328 elemental mastery. I told you it was no joke on the elemental mastery game for our Xiangling here. And then our crit rate and crit damage are pretty okay. I'm almost at that 1-to-2 ratio. Definitely could be a little bit better. And then I am at the 156% energy recharge threshold there. And as I said, you want to at least have 150% energy recharge. I'm personally shooting for around 165. I think that is going to be a really nice spot to be at, and then focus on all of the other stats. And then we only have 38.7% pyro damage bonus because my goblet isn't leveled up all the way, so do keep that in mind. But yeah, this is a really well-rounded Xiangling build, so let's go ahead and show it off and show you guys just how valuable the Keytang Cross Spear can be. Alright, so we got this guy here, and let me show you just how good this spear can be. Go ahead and have Gobia hit him, and you saw we lost a little bit of energy, but then we just start gaining a bunch of energy. And if we keep her on the field, we are also, of course, absorbing the most out of Gyoba's particles there. So you can see that we get quite a bit of energy. That is quite a bit, and do note that that works off the field as well. So that little bonus you get is going to continue even if you swap Xiangling before Gyoba even hits the opponent, because this effect does work off of the field, and it allows her to get her burst a lot faster. Now, of course, if you pair her with, you know, like another pyro character like we have here, like we have Bennett, you're going to be getting that burst even faster than you already are, because you can just use something like the E skill there and get a bunch of energy for here along with Gyoba here. It really allows her to just skyrocket into getting her burst. And if you're playing relatively well and using everybody's skills, you're going to have her burst off of cooldown. And we're going to go ahead and show off a Vaporize type build against the Cryo Regisvine here. I have picked Tartaglia to basically apply as much, you know, Hydro as we're going to need. Let's go ahead and see if we can get this down with Gyoba. And then we'll go ahead and use her Pyronado and use Tartaglia. And you can see we're hitting some pretty solid Vaporize numbers there. Almost 10k per. And if you have a high like Hydro applier like this, you're going to be, you know, doing those relatively well. We didn't even place down Bennett's Q, by the way. Bennett's Q, of course, is going to launch that into the sky in terms of damage. And do keep in mind, this is a pretty low crit damage Xiangling. And she's still hitting those numbers. Those numbers are really close to a really high-end version of a Xiangling with the previous builds. So, like, if you still have a really good Noblesse Oblige and or 4-piece, you know, Crimson Witch of Flame set on your Xiangling for the Pyro DPS, then probably stick with that until you can farm out a perfect set of this. But this is going to be really strong. You can already see the potential here, because this isn't even a well-rounded out build yet for her, and neither is the spear at a really high level. So you can see how that is really going to start to catapult in the future. Especially on like different melt teams and stuff. I think this Xiangling is going to skyrocket, and the whole Keytang spear passive is definitely my favorite thing. Getting that energy is really good, and being able to get even more energy as we refine it, I think is just so valuable. And so even if you don't like the artifact set, even if you don't want to do something like the 4-piece Emblem of Severed Fate, I cannot recommend the spear enough, because that energy that you get from it is going to be so valuable. And you saw how much we were getting just off of that one guy with Gyoba. Now imagine that essentially doubled when you have it at refinement rank 5. But anyway, that's going to be it for the build and the showcase. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm really enjoying Xiangling, especially on this new build, and I can't wait to really round out her set to get as much energy recharge and attack percent as possible. And when I do, I'm going to be using her a ton more than I already am. But let me know what you guys thought of the build in the comments. What builds are you running on Xiangling? How much do you like Keytang Cross Spear? And if you're using something else. But I think it's going to be it for the video. My name is Blossoms, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.